Feuer says that episode remains seared in his memory.
I thought it was important to be here because I think a lot of times the public perceives elected officials as being engaged in issues because it's the issue of the day or whatever it is, as opposed to why I'm involved in gun violence prevention, which is because in my gut, it really matters to me. And being here was one of the moments that made that so.
You're a member of the City Council, member of the California Legislature, City Attorney for the past 2 terms. The voters see a slow degradation of their communities through homelessness and crime. You've been in office while that has taken place. So they blame you. That actually the leadership we need is somebody who's not from the past.
That's not what I'm hearing. What I am hearing is people get the fact that as city attorney, I have meaningful authority as an executive. But when I was the budget chair at the City Council, I had different important authority. When I was the majority policy leader of the Assembly, I had policy authority. In this job that I currently have, I know that even though I've tried to transcend the role, I can't fix everything. I don't have all the authority I need. As mayor, I can combine those experiences together and actually take the city to a whole new level.
Polls indicate people don't want everything done. They want 2 things done.
Right.
They want
homelessness and safety.
Right.
And I think those are the right priorities to focus on. So as mayor, my first day, state of emergency on homelessness. As mayor,
but we've heard that before. We heard that years ago. The mayor held a news conference with the city council saying an emergency.
What I'm talking about is giving the mayor additional authority in 2 ways: to waive competitive bidding requirements and to be able to commandeer property. And why does that matter? I was just at a homeless facility in North Chinatown that was built in 5 months. In part why? Because they waive competitive bidding requirements. It matters. I wrote a piece for the Times 4 years ago that said if we had an earthquake, FEMA would be in charge. There'd be a field general knocking heads in charge of recovery. We have the equivalent of that disaster. It's homelessness, and no one's in charge. My first day, that's going to change. There's going to be a top official reporting directly to me to make sure that we consolidate all the authority of the mayor's office on this issue. And I want to make the buildings that we're doing for permanent housing, for example, much cheaper. Voters are sick and tired of $600,000 to $800,000 a unit. I've been working with private equity models. We can do it for 1/3 of that cost. And on the street, we should be saying to people experiencing homelessness, we need you to know it's dangerous for you here. 2,000 people died on the street. So we have to balance the compassion of saying we have housing and services for you with saying, but there's going to be a choice date after which you cannot stay here because our public space has got to be safe for everybody.
You tell somebody on the street, listen, we're going to try to entice you into getting help, but you have a date where you have to make a choice.
Yes.
What happens if they don't seek that help?
So I think if they don't seek the help, and parenthetically, when the city has employed that approach, it's worked. Almost everybody takes the help. A few people leave. We saw that on the Venice Boardwalk, for example. Pretty much everybody took the help in the first place. But in the rare instance when someone isn't going to take the help, we need to say there's going to be a triage center elsewhere where there's, communal congregate shelter and some basic services. We're going to take you there. Jail's not the right option for someone in that situation. But we have to be able to say this space we are reclaiming for the public. To get there, though, requires us having places for folks to go that are safe and offer services, and as mayor, I'm going to be relentless on assuring that's true.
Would you increase the number of officers?
Yes, so I was the first candidate to say that we should. I said we should.
How many, and how would you pay for it?
Total of 10,000. That would require about another 300 or so officers, assuming the city council budget that the mayor's proposed, that the budget of the city gets ratified by the city council, and assuming that those officers are hired. If it's 300, 350, that's about $35 million or so. That's very doable in the context of an $11+ billion budget. One of my opponents, Mr. Caruso, has said, I'll see you once I propose this, and I'll raise you to 1,500 additional officers, to 11,005. What he hasn't told you is that would cost about $225 million more dollars a year.
You had a deputy who recently was sentenced in federal court in a bribery scandal involving your office and the LADWP. Very complicated case. The Justice Department has not accused you personally of any wrongdoing, and you say you were upfront about what happened when you learned about it. But while you can say that, I knew nothing about it, it was your office that was raided by the FBI.
I turned over to the press and the court immediately evidence when I saw that there was wrongdoing here. I got an independent ethics expert to come in and evaluate the conduct of folks involved. I said I'm going to publish your conclusions no matter what that says. We did that. I issued a series of reforms so things won't happen again. I think those are the elements of leadership. You're transparent with the public, you're decisive in putting reforms in place, and you take action when someone has engaged in some wrongdoing.
When voters vote in this race for mayor, what are they seeking?
They want action on the first day. They want someone with vision, but they also want someone who can roll up their sleeves and accomplish that. They want to see tangible progress on reducing the number of people experiencing homelessness on our streets. They want to see crime reduced in their neighborhoods. They want us to effectively tackle gun violence. They don't want to feel afraid of a follow-home robbery or a smash-and-grab burglary in their community. What they want from the mayor is someone who gets it on the ground, but at the same time has the experience to make it happen in City Hall, making the city safer, increasing the police department, reducing street homelessness, focusing on mental illness and substance abuse. Throughout my career, my stock and trade has been, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, hold me accountable for doing it. That's been a successful formula for me. I'm looking forward to having it again.
Next up, LAPD officer turned City Councilman Joe Buscaino when we return.